I woke up from surgery to find $50,000 in charges on my cards. My brother-in-law winked. Medical bills are expensive, aren't they? The FBI agreed, especially when they saw the footage of him and his wife's shopping spree. The morphine was still clouding my mind when I heard the machines beeping. Not the medical ones. Those had become white noise after 3 days. No, this was my phone, buzzing incessantly on the bedside table. Fraud alerts. Dozens of them. My name is Natalie Chun, and I just survived a brutal car accident. A drunk driver had T-boned me at an intersection, leaving me with a ruptured spleen, broken ribs, and internal bleeding that required emergency surgery. I was lucky to be alive, the doctors said. But as I squinted at my phone's screen through the post-surgical haze, I realized my survival was about to become very expensive, just not in the way I'd expected. $3,000 at Nordstrom, $5,500 at Cartier, $8,000 at Louis Vuitton. The charges scrolled past like a nightmare shopping spree. My hands shook as I tried to process what I was seeing. In the span of 6 hours, while I was unconscious on an operating table, someone had racked up over $50,000 on my credit cards. Oh good, you're awake. My sister Stephanie burst through the door, wearing a designer jacket I'd never seen before. Behind her, her husband Marcus carried shopping bags. Lots of them. Stephanie, I croaked, my throat raw from the ventilator. My cards. Oh, that. She waved dismissively, settling into the visitor's chair like she owned it. Don't worry about it. Marcus and I took care of everything while you were out. Took care of what? I struggled to sit up, pain shooting through my midsection. Marcus set down the bags and winked, at me. Medical bills are expensive, aren't they? Your insurance probably won't cover everything. We figured we'd help you liquidate some assets. Liquidate assets? The morphine must have been stronger than I thought. You went shopping? For essentials, Stephanie said, admiring her new bracelet. Things we can easily resell if you need cash for your medical bills. We're helping you, Nat. You should be grateful. I stared at them, waiting for the punchline. But they were serious. My sister and her husband had stolen my credit cards while I was dying and justified it as financial planning. Where did you get my cards? I asked, though I already knew. My wallet had been in my personal effects, which Stephanie, as my emergency contact, had access to. You really shouldn't use your birthday as your PIN, Marcus chided. That's basic security 101. The audacity was breathtaking. Here I was held together by stitches and prayers, and they were giving me lectures about security while wearing my money. Get out, I whispered. What? Stephanie looked offended. Natalie, we've been here for you. We rushed here the moment we heard about your accident. We've been managing everything. Get out. I found the nurse call button and pressed it repeatedly. And leave my credit cards. Marcus laughed. They're maxed out anyway. But don't worry, we left you one with a few hundred in available credit. For emergencies. They strolled out like they'd done me a favor, leaving behind only the scent of expensive perfume and the bitter taste of betrayal. The nurse who answered my call found me trying to reach my phone, tears streaming down my face. Honey, you need to rest. You just had major surgery. Please, I begged. I need my phone. It's important. She helped me, probably thinking I wanted to call family. In a way, I was just not the family she imagined. My first call was to my credit card companies. The kind representatives put immediate freezes on everything and started fraud investigations. The second call was to my best friend, Alex, who was a detective with the Financial Crimes Unit. Nat, how are you feeling? I heard about the accident. Alex, I need your help. Stephanie and Marcus stole my credit cards and ran up $50,000 in charges while I was in surgery. Silence. Then, I'll be there in 20 minutes. My third call was to building security at my apartment complex. Stephanie had a spare key, and I needed to know if she'd been there too. Ms. Chun, we heard about your accident. Actually, your sister was just here. She said she was picking up some things for you. My blood ran cold. When? About 2 hours ago. She had quite a few boxes. Said you were downsizing for medical expenses. I hung up and closed my eyes. The pain medication was wearing off, but the physical agony was nothing compared to the realization that my own sister had robbed me blind while I fought for my life. Alex arrived with his partner, Detective Morrison. They took my statement, documented everything, and assured me they'd handle it. But I knew that wasn't enough. Stephanie and Marcus thought they'd gotten away with the perfect crime. After all, who'd believe that family members would rob someone during surgery? They'd probably already concocted a story about how I'd given them permission, how the head trauma had made me forget. They'd forgotten just one thing. I owned a tech security company. 6 months before the accident, I'd upgraded my entire life to smart everything. Smart locks, smart sensors, and most importantly, smart cameras. Tiny, discreet, motion-activated cameras that uploaded directly to the cloud. Cameras in my apartment, my office, even a dash cam in my car that had captured the accident. Stephanie and Marcus had no idea they'd been filmed. "Alex," I said as he finished taking notes. "I have video. Of everything." His eyes lit up. "From your apartment?" "Full HD audio too. Every room they entered, every item they took." I managed a painful smile. "I beta test all our products personally. My apartment is like a security showroom. Can you access it from here?" I nodded, pulling up the app on my phone. The interface was one I'd designed myself, simple enough to use even while recovering from surgery. The first video showed Stephanie letting herself into my apartment. She moved with purpose, heading straight for my home office. The wall safe where I kept cash, important documents, and my mother's jewelry. "She knows your safe combination?" Alex asked. She watched me open it once. I trusted her. The word trusted tasted bitter. On screen, Stephanie opened the safe and began pulling out everything. Cash, about $10,000 I kept for emergencies. My mother's wedding ring and diamond necklace. Stock certificates. Even my passport. "That's theft, burglary, and identity theft if she uses that passport," Morrison muttered, taking notes. The next video was from my bedroom. Marcus had joined her, and they were systematically going through my closets. Designer handbags, shoes, clothes, everything went into boxes. They were chatting and laughing as they worked, making jokes about my taste and how much they could get for everything. "Listen to this," I said, turning up the volume. "She won't even notice," Marcus was saying. "Head trauma, serious surgery. Doc said she might have memory issues. We'll just say we were safeguarding everything." "God, she has so much nice stuff," Stephanie added, holding up a Chanel bag. "Why does she need all this? She doesn't even have a boyfriend. Who's she trying to impress? Bitter much?" Marcus laughed. "Just because she makes more than us. She lords it over everyone," Stephanie snapped. "Miss Successful with her company and her fancy apartment. Well, now we're even." Alex paused the video. "That's conspiracy and admission of guilt. This is gold, Nat." But we weren't done. The next footage was from my kitchen, where they'd found my emergency credit cards in the junk drawer. They high-fived when they discovered them, already planning their shopping spree. "Should we really max these out?" Stephanie asked in the video. "She's got insurance," Marcus replied. "Rich people always do. Besides, she owes us." "For what?" I asked the screen, though they couldn't hear me. As if answering, Marcus continued. "For all those family dinners where she showed up in designer clothes. For making you feel bad about dropping out of college. For being perfect all the time. So that was it. Petty jealousy dressed up as righteous revenge." Alex had seen enough. "We need to move fast. They might try to sell everything before we can recover it." "There's more," I said quietly. "Check the timestamp on that kitchen footage." He looked. "That was during your surgery?" "I went in at 3 p.m. This was filmed at 4:47 p.m. My voice hardened. While doctors were trying to save my life, they were robbing me blind. Morrison shook his head. "In 30 years of police work, I've rarely seen anything this cold." "Can I get copies of everything?" Alex asked. "We'll need to coordinate with the fraud department at your credit card companies, get search warrants." "Already uploaded to a secure server," I said. "I'll send you the link." There's also footage from the shopping spree. I have a friend who works security at the mall. Once I explained the situation, he pulled their camera feeds. "You've been busy for someone recovering from surgery. Anger is excellent motivation." I shifted, wincing at the pain. They're not getting away with this. The investigation moved quickly after that. Armed with video evidence, the police got search warrants for Stephanie and Marcus's house. They found everything: my mother's jewelry, the stolen cash, even the shopping bags from their spree, receipts still inside. The knock on my hospital door came 2 days later. I was finally able to sit up without screaming, though breathing still hurt. Stephanie entered, no longer wearing designer clothes. Her face was puffy from crying, her hair unwashed. "How could you?" she wailed. "I'm your sister." "Exactly my question," I replied calmly. "How could you rob me while I was dying?" "We weren't robbing you. We were helping. Is that the lie you're going with?" I held up my phone, showing her a freeze frame of her and Marcus laughing in my apartment. Should I play the audio? The part where you say I won't notice because of head trauma. She paled. You had cameras? Everywhere. HD quality. Perfect audio. I set the phone down. You didn't just steal things, Stephanie. You stole my security, my trust, my peace of mind. While I was fighting for my life, you were fighting over my belongings. I'm sorry, she sobbed. You have so much, and we struggle so much, and it didn't seem fair. Fair? I laughed, then regretted it as pain shot through my ribs. You want to talk about fair? Fair is working 60-hour weeks to build a company. Fair is living on ramen for 2 years to afford coding boot camp. Fair is sacrificing vacations and relationships to create something from nothing. But family helps family. Family doesn't rob family during surgery. I pressed the nurse call button. I need you to leave. My lawyer will be in touch. Lawyer? Natalie, please. I could go to jail. Yes, I agreed. You could. You committed multiple felonies. On camera. With audio. But I'm your sister. She was getting hysterical now. You can't let them arrest me. What about Mom and Dad? What about my kids? What about them? Maybe you should have thought about them before you robbed me. The nurse appeared, took one look at the situation, and moved to escort Stephanie out. You'll regret this. Stephanie screamed as she was led away. When you're old and alone with your money and your fancy apartment, you'll regret choosing things over family. I'm not choosing things over family, I called after her. I'm choosing justice over enablement. The arrest happened the next morning. Alex called to tell me they'd picked up both Stephanie and Marcus at their home. The FBI had gotten involved due to the interstate nature of the credit card fraud. They'd driven to New Jersey for some of their shopping. Federal charges, Alex explained. With the video evidence, they're looking at serious time. What about my stuff? Recovery team found most of it. Your mom's jewelry was in their bedroom closet. The cash is gone. They claim they spent it on bills, but the merchandise is mostly intact. I felt relief wash over me. Mom's ring was irreplaceable. She died when I was in college, and that ring was my connection to her. There's something else, Alex continued. We found evidence of previous thefts. Your sister had photos on her phone of other relatives' homes, lists of valuable items. You weren't the first, Nat. You're just the first with cameras. The trial was a media sensation. Sister steals from surgery patient, made for great headlines. The security footage went viral after it was released as evidence. The image of Stephanie and Marcus high-fiving over my stolen credit cards while I was in surgery became the perfect symbol of greed and betrayal. They tried to plea bargain, but the federal prosecutor wasn't interested. The evidence was too overwhelming, the crime too egregious. The jury took less than 2 hours to convict on all charges. Stephanie got 3 years federal time. Marcus got 5. He had priors I didn't know about. Turns out my brother-in-law had a history of theft and fraud. Stephanie had known and married him anyway. The family exploded, of course. My parents, who'd initially tried to stay neutral, were horrified when they saw the actual footage. My aunts and uncles, some of whom had also been victims, rallied around me. But there were others who thought I should have handled it within the family. She's your sister, Aunt Linda said at a family gathering I probably shouldn't have attended. You don't send family to prison. She sent herself to prison, I replied. I just provided the evidence. But she has children, who are better off learning that actions have consequences. I stood to leave, still moving carefully. The physical wounds had mostly healed, but I'd carry the scars forever. Stephanie made her choices. Now she lives with them. I moved after the trial. Not because I was ashamed or driven out, but because I needed a fresh start. The apartment held too many memories, not just of the theft, but of the sister I thought I'd had. The one who'd braided my hair for prom, who'd held me when Mom died, who'd been my maid of honor at my wedding to my ex. That sister had been a fiction, or maybe she died somewhere along the way, replaced by someone who saw me only as a resource to exploit. My new place has even better security. Biometric locks, AI-powered cameras, the works. But the best security isn't technological. It's the wisdom to know who deserves access to your life and who doesn't. I still have the footage. Sometimes I watch it when I'm tempted to feel guilty, to second-guess my decision. I watch Stephanie laugh as she steals my mother's ring. I watch Marcus joke about my potential brain damage. I watch them plan their shopping spree while I'm being cut open to save my life. And I remember that family isn't about blood. It's about trust, respect, and love. The people who show up when you need them, not to rob you but to support you. The ones who celebrate your success instead of resenting it. Alex and his wife have become that family. My employees who sent flowers and covered for me during recovery. The neighbors who brought food and checked on me. Even my surgical team, who saved my life while my blood relatives were stealing it. As for Stephanie, she sends letters sometimes from federal prison. Long, rambling apologies that always end with requests for money or help with her appeal. I don't read them anymore. They go straight to my lawyer, just in case she confesses to other crimes I don't know about yet. Marcus's family reached out once, asking me to show mercy, to speak at his parole hearing. I sent them the footage of him winking at me in the hospital, joking about medical bills while wearing my money. They didn't ask again. The $50,000 was eventually recovered through insurance and restitution. But the real value wasn't in the money or the merchandise. It was in the lesson learned. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. And when they show you on camera, in high definition with perfect audio, well, that's what we call evidence. Stephanie was wrong about one thing. I'm not alone with my money and fancy apartment. I'm surrounded by people who love me for who I am, not what I have. People who'd never dream of robbing me, whether I was in surgery or perfect health. That's the family I choose. And they're worth more than anything my sister tried to steal. The security cameras are still rolling, by the way. Not because I expect another betrayal, but because I've learned that the best time to catch a thief is before they know they're being watched. Trust but verify. And always, always press charges. Thanks for watching. See you again in the next video. Stay stunned.